Hello, all. So today we're going to go back to the Old Testament, and since it is the feast of the elevation of the cross, we're going to read a passage from the book of Exodus that is used in the services celebrating the cross, especially in the Vespers service from last night. This is from Exodus chapter 7, verse 1 through 16. Not 7, Exodus 17. From the wilderness of Sin, the whole congregation of the Israelites journeyed by stages as the Lord commanded. They camped at Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. The people quarreled with Moses and said, "Give us water to drink." Moses said to them, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you test the Lord?" But the people thirsted there for water, and the people complained against Moses and said, "Why did you bring us out of Egypt, to kill us and our children and livestock with thirst?" So Moses cried out to the Lord, "What shall I do with this people? They are almost ready to stone me." The Lord said to Moses, "Go on ahead of the people, and take some of the elders of Israel with you. Take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go. I will be standing there in front of you on the rock at Horeb. Strike the rock, and water will come out of it, so that the people may drink." Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. He called the place Massah and Meribah, because the Israelites quarreled and tested the Lord, saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" Then Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. Moses said to Joshua, "Choose some men for us and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand." So Joshua did as Moses told him, and fought with Amalek, while Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. Whenever Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed, and whenever he lowered his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands grew weary, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side, so his hands were steady until the sun set. And Joshua defeated Amalek and his people with the sword. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Write this as a reminder in a book, and recite it in the hearing of Joshua. I will utterly blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven." And Moses built an altar and called it, "The Lord is my banner." He said, "A hand upon the banner of the Lord. The Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation." So there's a few things in this story that are interesting. The common thread that the church looks at is especially the wooden staff of Moses. This staff, actually, I just learned, was associated in Jewish tradition. There was an idea even that it had been cut from the tree of life from the Garden of Eden. There was a strong association with this staff and the presence and power of God in the midst of the children of Israel as they were leaving the land of Egypt and going to the promised land. In this passage, then, we see the staff used by the command of God to provide water out of a rock for the people, to nourish them and keep them alive in the desert. And then in the midst of an ambush, and the Amalekites were actually relatives of the children of Israel. They were cousins, descendants from Esau, the brother of Jacob. And yet they came out into the desert to attack the people of Israel without being provoked. There is a strong tradition in Scripture that associates the people of Amalek with the worship of evil gods, of demons who entered into an alliance with those people and gave them power and used them as their tools. So this animosity between the people of Amalek, the people of the demons, and the people of God is a thing that cannot be reconciled. But when the people of Amalek came out and made war on the children of Israel, Moses went up with the staff of the Lord onto a hill, and he held up his hands. And while he had his hands up high, the children of Israel won the battle. But when his arms got tired, as the battle raged for hours, his hands began to sag. So the two people who were with him, his brother Aaron and Hur, the prince of Judah, they held up his arms until the battle was won. So already then, Moses himself standing in this way is depicting the sign of a cross. These are the themes that the fathers of the church reflect on and emphasize in the hymns of the celebration of the elevation of the cross. And they're images that we should have in mind, reminders that the cross was anticipated, it was prefigured, and the presence of God with his people working salvation for them by means of this wooden instrument is a theme that we see long before Christ comes, long before his crucifixion, a theme which is truly fulfilled in the Lord's coming. Besides that, it's a great little story, and everyone can remember Moses getting too tired to hold his hands up. Any kids out there, you can see how long you can hold your arms out this way before they start to get tired, and maybe you wish you had an Aaron and a Hur with you to help you hold up your arms. Anyway, this week we're going to be talking about the cross, because today, September 14th, is the Feast of the Cross, so I'll look forward to seeing you all on Wednesday when we'll talk about St. Constantine, Agios Konstantinos, and the vision of the cross that he saw. Have a blessed evening.